Hey y'all, hey. I'm Jay,
I'm C,
and
and
welcome
welcome
to
to
the
the JNC room.
JNC's room. Hey y'all, hey. Welcome to the JNC room. I am
I'm
Jay,
C
and we are back at it again. And we here to
with
talk
another
some,
topic.
talk some ish.
Look at her, she like a superhero in this damn cape, right?
Like
Dun,
for
dun,
real.
dun.
So today's topic, I'm really excited about this topic. I'm not gonna lie. And this topic, I actually asked some people in the streets this question because I needed, some different perspectives either than, us two or whatever. And the topic is
The
like,
God one's the best one.
who struggles
Stay hydrated.
more? Women or men? Men or women overall in life? Not just one aspect, overall in life. I would like to say that I was very surprised by the answers that were given. Big time. So, you want to start this off?
Okay. I think I was the one that came up with this topic.
Yes, he was.
And it's a very, let's just say, difficult topic to touch. The reason why, because every gender has. So let me get this. We're only talking about men and women. I think transgender people have a crazy struggle that I don't understand. Neither can even contend on. And that will be another conversation for another day. I think that we would need somebody to represent them.
But then, see, that's still touchy because to say, the struggle of men and women, and there's an argument right now of what, they identify as, and if
I
they
think
are
that's a
man or
struggle in
woman.
itself.
So,
But
like, we can't even say, like, they're not in the I feel like it's touchy.
no, they're
to
in
even
the
say.
conversation, but
Yeah.
I can't talk on it.
From their
Because I'm a
perspective.
man and you're a woman and we don't know what they go through. I
Yeah.
mean, we could read on it or
Yeah.
YouTube it, and but that's
But
just
to-
us assuming some shit.
Basically. But
That's
to
not
actually
fair to
be
them.
in their
So
shoes. But go
in
ahead.
this conversation, we're comparing the male and female, and we're talking about born female and male.
Okay. Okay.
So for me, right, I'm gonna try to wrap. I'm gonna try to say this quick as I can. So for me, I want to say it's equal. I think in the dream world of my head, it's equal. But when I sit down and think about it, it's not equal. And I'm not gonna say it's not close. I just think that our struggles are so different from each other. But one is a little bit more cuddled, and the other one just has to do it. Like if you don't do it, you know, you're gonna get life's second hands. So who do I if Corey's picking who do I feel has the worst struggle? Men.
Okay. And why?
Because if we don't do, we don't get we can't be the pickers of our society. We can't be the pickers of who we want. Men, it's like we have to pay for the first day. We have to do this. We have to be providers. We have to do this. There's no choice on it. I feel like women, in a lot of ways, is a choice. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I think that women also have different kinds of struggles. But like a man, we're not allowed to be sensitive. We're not allowed to be we're not allowed to have a woman can have a break. Some women can't because they got kids, they single parents. So that once again, I'm talking about general. I am not talking about individually each case. I think that of course there's some women that struggle way more than men, obvious. We talking about not the exception to the rule, but generally. Like me, I couldn't live in my mom's house until I was 30. I couldn't live in my pop's house until I was 30. I know too much women that still got that situation. And I know some guys that got it too, but guess what? They looked at it different. So, listen, I want to say that it's 50-50, but it ain't.
Okay.
How you feel about it?
So the main reason why, like, before I go into my, what I think it is or whatever the case
Oh,
is,
you actually wrote notes.
I actually wrote notes for this one because I didn't want to forget everything or whatnot because I felt like there was so much to talk about in this topic, and because there's so
so
much to talk
prepared.
about in this topic,
Such a
I was just
prepared
like, let me
woman.
just write for this one. So the reason why I actually ask people in the street because I feel like when I look at the situation, I think it's half and half.
I want to be happy.
So, I ask people to, because, sometimes I look at things a lot different than a lot of people. You get what I mean? I also look at it from the stance of a therapeutic level, which sometimes, you get what I mean? Sometimes it doesn't touch everything, So for me, it's half and half. And I also want to talk about, like, the responses also, though, because,
I don't got no response.
I'll say like that.
Actually, I do.
I'll say that, like, it's half and half, but I can see the point of men having it harder. But I just, when it comes to struggles, everybody's struggle is kind of different. And you can't identify one worse than the other. But I can see, and the reason why. So half and half for me, because when women are born and men are born, we all kind of have these stipulations placed on us that don't allow us to be humans in some type of form. You get what I mean? You said it already. Whereas men, you're not shit unless you provide, unless you have money, unless you're established, unless you have a status. If you don't have a status, you don't have all this stuff, you're a waste of a man. And the world is real quick to tell you that you ain't shit. You get what I mean? Even while you're trying to get to that level. For men, the biggest thing that, like, I think it really, it dawned on me through this question is, like, men are not given any type of props for their greatness. Men have built the world. You get what I'm saying? Men fight. They go into war. You're not allowed to feel any feelings.
We run the world.
Yeah, you get what I mean? If a man feels feelings, they're a bitch. You're a soft ass. Not dead ass. Like, that shit to me is, and everything that I'm saying, like, even with that part of, like, they're not allowed to feel, like, that's just fucked up. You're a human. When it comes to females, when they're born, you're automatically told that you're not even supposed to acknowledge your body. Of course, clean it or whatever the case is, but you don't, you know what I'm saying? But you don't acknowledge it. It's not important to acknowledge it until it's time for men to acknowledge your body. Real talk. And then on top of that, you're a waste of a woman if you don't have a child and you don't have a husband. If, and on top of that, men go to war, but females are at war every day with the world. Like, our protectors are predators. You could walk in the street, and because you have a cooch attached to you, you could get attacked. It's just like how one of the examples you had gave me when he was talking, he was just like, yo, if a man goes somewhere, like, and there's other dudes, they might just pop off just cause you look a certain kind of way. You get what I mean? It's the same thing where it's like, a female, you walk in the street, it doesn't matter what time of day, you could get raped. I mean, shit, a couple of months ago, or maybe like in the fall of 2020, an old lady was walking the street, got raped. Everybody walked by it like as if it was just something like going on it was daylight. So it's just like, it don't matter what, like, age, you have a coochie attached to you, you can get raped. You can get touched. Your protectors, even in your family, those who are supposed to protect you will take advantage of you because you have a cooch. Like, you get what I'm saying? Granted, I'm not saying it doesn't happen to boys, because it does happen to boys as well. I'm only speaking on the sense of females. Even the part of, like, your bodies, or where we bleed for days. Shit happens inside of our body. We don't even fucking understand it. It's like, so I just see it as it's just men work harder. Like, they get the hard jobs. Like, they physically get the hard jobs. Females, we do the harder mental jobs. I mean, but it's the truth. We do.
What? Like what?
When I say, like, harder mental, like, we do the social work. We do the.
But you're not leaders. You're not presidents.
I'm talking about.
I'm just keeping it honest.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, even though we're not presidents, I'm talking about the more. I didn't say leaderships. I said mental. A lot of the jobs that females do are mental. You're dealing more with people. Like, those jobs, if females didn't, it's just like nurses. Like, if we talk about, like, the majority of doctors that are men, right? The majority of nurses are females. If nurses, it just happens. It just happened to several hospitals months ago.
I don't even know what
What happened was nurses said, "Fuck this shit. You're not acknowledging us. You're not paying us what we need to do, and you're not treating us right." And they went on a strike. These hospitals were in a uproar, and they eventually gave in. Nurses have one of the most stressful jobs. One, I am not taking away from the doctors, but who am I to say has the worst job? The nurses get shitted on. The doctors have to make sure this person is alive. But even if they don't have a nurse who helps in making sure that person is alive, the job doesn't get done.
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
If all the doctors took a strike, it would be the same thing.
You'd still have, because there's nurses that are higher level that can do doctors' jobs. So if they was to go on strike, it would not be as bad as the nurses going on strike. Because of the fact, nurses do a lot of the shit nurses do a lot of what the doctors do and the shit and jobs. Of course, there's lower levels where there's CNA and LPNs that also do these. Majority,
we counting those too?
But I mean, I just said the regular nurses, registered nurses. But there's also levels under that, LPN, CNAs. These are all shit ass, no offense. Like, of course, they're jobs, but these are like the grunt work, and there's a lot of stress to it. If we didn't have these people, the hospitals would not be able to run. Even the little, and as much as we're like, granted the stronger jobs, but there's a lot of little stuff that are done that are stressful mentally, that are majority females. And granted, there's other reasons for that too, but if these positions weren't filled, hospitals wouldn't be able to be ran. As simple as like a secretary, a medical receptionist, making the traffic go the way the traffic needs to go, tending to all of the demographics, tending to all of the paperwork. These are majority female jobs. And if they weren't filled, motherfuckers
I think that this I get your point.
So that
I think
was
that
more
one
of
this without either or, it's not going to continue.
Very true.
So like that.
But you can't, the doctors, I'm telling you, the doctors cannot function if these jobs are not fulfilled. Because these jobs.
Neither can the nurses function without the doctors.
These tedious jobs.
No, I'm not knocking you.
The
I'm
nurses
just saying they both need each other.
And that's what I just said. Neither one. That's why I say to me, like
they
neither
both
one
need
is
each
what you
other.
would call it. But you know,
To me, that argument right there is just like it's worthless.
no, to me it's not, because it's proving that both have a hard job and both is needed. So who am I to say that the doctor struggles more because you have this part of the job and the nurse struggle more? That's what I'm saying, like female to male, where my point was females having a more mental stressful, doctors having the more physical part of it, and as well as mental, but that was just an example, but saying females do more of the mental stressful jobs, men do more of the physical stressful jobs. You know this already.
I think you're right, but it's not in this situation.
You know, so when I think of the struggle of jobs or whatever, that's how I see that.
Yeah, I look at it like I would more so look at it as I'll give you a good one. A gas station. Mm-hmm. Gas station might have a female receptionist, but the guy that pumped in the gas into the station is a guy. The one that's fueling the gas station, that drives the truck, is the guy. That's what I mean by that. You can't get one without the other. So is one job way more dangerous and one more? Yeah, but they can't. In this situation, I'm naming something that's.
But that's why I say, like, to me, that's why the struggle looks the same to me, because it's like
I would compare what's the in leadership roles. This to me why it's not fair. If I was to say the president of the United States have unreasonable mental stress, what is the counterpart to the woman's job?
How do you even use that?
Okay,
that's
president.
one. That's his job.
President's
is
a leader, king.
Technically, there's
women leadership. I'm not saying it's not.
He's really just he holds the weight of it, or whatever the case is. Who can you compare to the president?
That's what I'm saying.
It would have to be a queen. It would have to the queen of R.I.P. the Queen of England. That'd be the only comparison.
That's why I just said that.
You get what I'm saying? Like, if I was to use that.
But majority of them are men.
Yeah.
So what other job that's not this job that is the same stress?
But this is not every man. So when we're talking about the struggle of men and women, we can't say
it's just like it's female doctors. That's what I didn't get mad.
No, that's what I'm not getting mad. What I'm saying is how can we? I just gave the only opposite to that would be
job
the Queen
mentally
of Elizabeth.
Stressful like that for a woman. There's none. That the majority is women.
So
the majority is women.
Okay. So you're gonna tell me because that means that does that negate the fact that it's all I'm saying is men's job, normal men. I'm not saying the president. All I'm saying is regular men, they do the harder jobs physically.
They got
Females kind of do the harder jobs that are like not mental, I guess emotionally
I don't agree with
stressful
that.
and mentally stressful. I
don't agree.
looked at that. Like they kind of, cause we've talked about, like a lot of women don't take leadership roles unless like
it's mentally
maybe it's like a
stressful.
CEO. You'll see maybe a CEO. Maybe
But
you'll
that's
see.
the mental stress I'm talking
But
about.
but you still see them. You just don't see a lot of them.
But that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
It's women is 8 to 1. So that means there should be 8 to more women doing that job. They're
but
not. They
that
don't
doesn't
want
mean
it.
that that's the only stressful job, though. I'm talking about jobs in general. You're gonna tell me so because nobody else's job is the president, that means the stress on their
not the
level,
president.
like
I'm talking about leadership. Leadership is in every role of everywhere.
very true. But there's other jobs that are not leadership and they're still stressful.
And men do them.
And then what?
Men do them.
Okay, but they're more the
There's
jobs,
more women than men, period.
Yeah, but men do more physical jobs. They don't do a lot of the. You're not gonna see It's rare you see a male nurse. Maybe now more than before, but
a lot of male nurses.
It's not as much as female nurses.
This is way more female.
But they've been dominating that field for a very long
Facts.
time.
You
get what I mean?
That was technically
Yeah.
that's what I say is a patriarchal thing.
You get what I'm saying?
But in the sense of population to
Mm-hmm.
men, it's 8 to 1.
But I know that. But what I'm
So
saying,
that means
there's
it's
but
always
there's
should
cer-
be
but
more
there's
of
certain-
every spot.
Yeah, but there's certain fields that are dominated by women.
Just like scientists, it's mad mentally stressed to be a scientist.
Exactly.
And most men do them.
Okay. But that's a.
I'm naming stressful jobs. Men do just as much stressful jobs as women.
But I'm not saying either or. What I'm saying is
You just said
it's equal.
women-
That it's a different type of struggle.
What?
But there's women that do physical jobs as well.
Facts.
So
Not
that's
as much
what
as
I'm,
men.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't feel like a lot of men. I'm not say feel. I don't believe that there's a lot of men that take on mentally stressful jobs like that. I
I
feel
just
like
told
it's
you
more.
mentally stressful jobs.
How many scientists do you know?
Most of them are men.
But
That's a
I
fact.
don't know.
That's a fact.
I don't know.
It's just like coding. Most of them admitting. That's a hard job.
When techs don't even, they're not stressed. The
What?
techs that I know, they're not stressed. Their jobs are easy. I know techs are like, yeah, this is easy.
So
get into it.
So coding a video game with deadlines, that's not easy, baby.
But then deadlines are deadlines.
That's why
Everybody-
it's not easy. That's why it's mentally stressful. You have to do things by a certain date. You got to get things done.
I'm gonna just agree to
What,
disagree.
what,
on
what
that.
is stressful to you then?
I'm just gonna agree to
No.
disagree.
What
on
is
that.
stressful to you? I would like to know.
Because I'm gonna just there's several things of stress.
So why
I know
why
a whole
can't
bunch of,
one
I know
deadline be
I
stress?
know techs that are in their job and they're like, yo, this is easy.
Yeah,
You don't
I know
do
people.
shit.
I know people that do coding too that say easy.
So that's what
But
I'm
guess
saying.
what? But they're not doing the hard jobs like
But
a
we're
deadline
just talking
for
about
programming
we're just
something.
talking about techs. We're talking about ITs, coding. I'm not saying like
ITs is
specific
not a coding,
ones,
but yeah, I get
like
you.
different techs or whatever the case is. Like they're like, oh, this is cool. This is easy.
IT just fix computers.
Yeah,
That's
and
not
then,
coding.
But then there's people who code, and they're just like, oh, it's easy.
Yeah, I got a
You get what I'm
homeboy.
saying?
Remember I told you about my military homeboy that did coding? Mm-hmm. I was on the phone with him and something happened. He had to stop talking because everything started going like whoop, 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 alarms. He's like, yeah, my bad, bro. I had something go down. I had to take care of it. That's a stress. He had to
Okay.
hop on it.
Oh well,
What stress? Like I want to know.
I don't know. I'm gonna just agree to disagree
Yeah,
on that because
facts,
everybody's
facts,
stress
facts.
level is different. My point
Facts.
is saying that like,
I
there's
just
a
think men
stressor-
handle stress a lot different than women.
There's stressors in every situation, in both
Mm-hmm.
situations. That's my thing. Like it's on half and half. But so one of the things
Like social work. I think social work is stressful.
beyond, like it's.
But I don't think. But that
It's-
you know what's crazy? I'm happy you said that. But if you ask me how stressful, I don't think it's beyond. I just think
But
it's.
you don't. But see, the thing.
I wouldn't even get if I was to do social work. I wouldn't even allow my feelings to get that involved. That's me.
I don't.
That's why I said men and women handle things totally different. That's why I said we could do the same job.
I've seen
and your
a lot
stress
of.
level
I've
could be.
seen a lot of men in social work, and they're just as stressed as the females.
Oh, I'm not knocking it. Oh, no.
Like, so I'm about
you
to
know
be
I'm
like,
not knocking it, right? You know, you
Yeah.
know, you get what I'm trying to say. I talked about me, because I can handle stress differently.
Yeah.
It don't mean that man can't handle.
Yeah.
it. But I also think, who do you think handle stress differently, men or women? Like, do we handle stress the same?
Depends on what it is.
You just said to me, we just said earlier that men can't feel.
They can't feel. They definitely can't.
So that means we handle stress differently. That's what I'm trying to get at. We could do the same jobs and we would handle it differently. I'm not trying to say.
But I believe that. So I have seen these.
You like that, right? That
that
giving
makes
you a
sense.
perspective.
That makes sense. But I because you're not able to feel, I feel like that shit, you handle it, but you still, it's like you still have a blockage of some sort.
Facts.
You get what I'm saying? That
It might come out a different way.
Yeah.
It might come out when I work out. It might
Yeah.
come out when I go bowling.
Or it might come out unhealthy.
Or it might just come out, I have an argument with you, and you
Yeah.
just, to me, you nagging me, and I just let you have every
Basically.
beef I got.
Whereas women, I'm not going to say all women under stress, but women who are good with handling stress, they're still emotional, but they handle it. But I feel like because they've dealt with their emotion and handled it, they don't. No, there's still females that kind of like
Exactly.
they kind of
And that's
put
what I
their
mean
stuff
by
all
and
over
that's
the place
what I
or
mean by
whatever.
the work thing. That's not a good. That's why I feel like that's not a good conversation to have. Women do more stressful jobs. No, men do just as probably more stressful jobs, because one CEO could take on the stress of like 25 social work females.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because he's dealing with something totally different. A CEO,
I'm just talking about stress. I'm talking
don't-
about the measurement of stress.
I don't know.
I'm just
'Cause
talking
how
about-
many
you
social
get what I'm trying-
workers
you get what I'm trying to say?
How many social workers you said?
25.
I do not agree.
Because
with
I feel like that social work job, she might have to work 40 hours, 45 hours. That CEO might be working 65 hours,
that.
70
the-
hours,
but it's a
nonstop.
different level of work.
And then they have to fire people. You know how that shit.
But that's a different. He has to
It's stress.
He has to deal with like humans on a compassionate level. A lot of CEOs don't have to deal with humans on a compassionate level because they have other people doing that for them. They're dealing with the decision making. And this doesn't go down, and this doesn't go down, and this doesn't go down. They don't have to. They don't have to care.
Remember the conversation about Pearls?
Yeah.
When she said her father's CEO, he used to work 65 hours.
Yeah.
He took years off his life.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, what he's dealing with there is totally different than him. It's two different type of work.
It's stress. I'm just talking about stress. I'm just measuring
But
stress.
Very true, but the stress that you're trying to measure, you're saying the CEO job, whatever. Like, so let's say he sells toilet paper. Let's say he sells protein
sells
powder.
Avion.
He sells Avion. He's dealing with like
Shout out to
marketing.
We would love for y'all,
marketing and like this is
we'll promote
this is like the big decisions or whatever the case is. This, on the other hand, 25 social workers. You're talking about over 800 cases of children.
Yeah.
Families and homes, and you have
It don't even gotta be
actually-
children. Remember, social work could
families,
be,
like that's
could
what
be
I'm
homeless
saying.
people.
That on top of homeless
Yeah,
people,
it could
all
just be
aspects.
anybody.
So you have to now. It's not about like making a decision. Now you have to take on the stress of
25.
managing.
I stand on it.
Managing
Look,
all
look,
of this
look.
stuff.
Remember I told you
I
earlier?
believe you.
Remember I told you, man's man? I stand
on it, but I don't agree with it.
Stand on it. You don't gotta
But
agree.
I do also another question that
Leadership
came up.
has a lot of pressure.
No, I'm not
immense.
saying that it doesn't have a lot
Especially
of
if
pressure.
you have a board of trustees that putting pressure on you to do something that you don't necessarily
You have
agree
to
with.
make a decision.
Whew.
But most likely, everyone that has to do the little work, or you're saying you're just giving the orders.
Nah, they do work. They
You're
got to.
like, you have to make the decisions. You have to see the
Job was
stuff
not
and you
handed
have
to
to
them.
make
They
the
earned that
decisions.
job. They-
Exactly.
they
But once you
made the
get to that
company.
point, you don't have to do like social workers are doing grunt work. So I don't
So you're
believe,
trying to say the supervisor has less work than the
I don't-
social work supervisor has less work than the social work person.
their part is more stressful than the social worker supervisor, because the social worker supervisor is more. The social worker supervisor is now overseeing
You know
these
what's
social
crazy?
workers.
I heard social work. I love that you said this because I hear so much different arguing points on this.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're talking about social work supervisor. Mind you, I've never talked to a social work. I've talked to social work supervisors, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But they always say, yeah, my job is way more harder. Because I got bosses coming down on me about people not doing certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have to go into each individual case. It's like, say there's a discrepancy. Now I got to talk to the family myself to see if this person did their job properly.
That's them basically supervising social workers. So the only time they really have to get into the family work is when a
Yes.
social worker is not doing their job.
Or
So
they have to just do checks. Sometimes I think they do checks.
Well, they should be. If you are a supervisor or social worker, your best bet is to do checks. Is to sit down with these social workers and make sure they're doing what they need to do. It's just like when I was working
you don't
at.
think it's that stressful though?
No, it is stressful. But what I'm saying is the grunt work, meaning you're dealing with the family. You're the one getting cussed out. You're the one in the domestic violence situation. That's what. So if I was to, it's like, all right, the best way to it's like when I was working at the home, and when I was
At the home
with some children. When I was a direct care, I was the one
I know.
getting beat up or whatever the case is. I'm dealing with the kids,
You was
direct
supervisor
on.
too, right?
But then when I got to supervisor level, now I'm managing these staff.
But you still have
But the only reason why my interaction was still heavy with the kids was because I needed to make sure, like, all right, what's going on or whatever the case is, and I never wanted the kids to feel like, oh, I became supervisor, so now I'm not talking to them. I thought that was whack.
So can I say
my
the point,
role
what you say,
was
yeah.
only to manage, to basically make sure everything in the house is straight, but I already had people delegated to manage certain things. So as long as I'm checking in with that person, like, oh, you did that? Cool. And making sure that everything was written, all of the documentation is done. Literally, the supervisor's position is making sure, of course, you have the people coming in like, oh, what's going on, or whatever the case is.
You didn't feel like your job was a little harder than the grunt work?
Do I feel like, but that's because I was still doing the grunt work.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. That's what I'm trying to get you
I
to
was still
understand.
doing the grunt work, but there's a lot of social work.
And
we
to
go into
me,
it.
that's the job that's harder.
Yeah, but that's
To me,
if
that's
we
the
was
job.
yeah, but if you go to another super, like somebody else in that same position, there was a lot of them not doing the grunt work because that wasn't a part of the that wasn't part of the
their
supervision.
shit fall apart.
You get what I mean? But they were still running. But what ended up happening is, of course, somebody would have to come in and do damage control.
Apart. Get it? Fall apart.
Yeah, but
Corey said it.
there's a lot of people who, you get what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, that's a whole nother conversation.
Facts, but you get what I'm trying to say.
I do
right?
get what you're saying.
If
I
a
do get what
person's
you're saying.
properly doing their job,
And making sure shit is running.
they are more stressed than the grunt work. They are. And that just says that a lot of people don't do their job.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
But think about it, right? Like when I worked UPS and I did my job was not hard. It was physically hard. It was like
But-
the only time it'd be a little bit of stress if they cut me out a little early than they supposed to. But the person that had the harder job was the supervisor because they like, you gotta cut hours. Why this is not getting done? I told him to do this. And then be like, but you told me to do that. It's like, you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
To me, the supervisor job was always harder. So in this situation, I get it. I actually think the supervisor. I always think leadership has a mentally harder job. I think because the supervisor has to juggle so much more things than one person. That person might have 10 cases, 20 cases.
Yeah.
But now that supervisor's in charge of 8 guys that got 20.
And making sure
8
they
times
on their
20 is
cases.
160. Now he got to make sure all 160.
That's
And now you got to
bullshit,
deal with
right.
the person that always come to work late. And after you told him 1,000 times not to come to work late, then he's coming to work on. But he's coming to work late, but his job is spotless. Look.
You know what?
Look, think about it like this, right?
Let me retract that, okay? Because I'm getting flashbacks, and
I'm trying to tell you.
I'm gonna be honest. After that one position, I'll be honest. I don't. Even though I want my own businesses, I don't ever want to be a supervisor. Like,
I do.
So like,
You know why?
I get
'Cause
it.
it's more money.
It is more money, but
And
depending,
you just gotta,
depending
you
on
gotta, you know what you gotta do?
Hmm.
Compartmentalize. Would you say that word?
the compartmentalize.
Yes. So
I don't know if
we went on to a whole one thing
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, like, this is what I mean by. I'm not trying to say I don't really think men struggles way harder than women. I don't think so. Because honestly speaking, women's insecurities, oh my God, I think that's a big ass struggle.
mental health, yeah, like mental health wise.
No. I'm just saying,
that's part of it.
Yeah, mental health, yes. But I'm just talking about that one thing. Insecurity, that shit is wow.
think
That
about it.
insecurity thing plays into everything with a woman to a certain degree.
Because it's embedded in you from young. You have to be from young. You have to be chosen.
Like-
and if society doesn't deem you beautiful,
Like just now, right?
It's a wrap.
Just now, I put on a different shirt to wear for the video.
Yeah.
I was ready to wear a wrinkled ass shirt, and I would be perfect. I was pissed that she told me to change that shit.
and I'm over here like I'm here with the same shirt from the last video, and I'm like, all right, let me just cover it up.
Yeah,
and
and
put this
and
up.
she's like, no, it doesn't look good. I said, but it's just the chest up.
Like,
She's
no.
like, no,
Change it.
change it, and that's the difference.
But that's it. and
Because I just don't care.
that's
I
what-
won't even let that shit have bothered
Because
me.
you know what, men are not. You guys are. It's not. And this is what I mean. Like even though like you guys are told to focus on your status,
You know what it is?
not on your beauty.
Can I-
Females are told from young you have to look a certain
I'm
kind
not
of
even
way.
talking about the beauty, but you're right.
But
You
that's-
are
that's
right.
where the
I'm not
insecurity-
knocking
that's
what
where
I'm
the
saying.
insecurity
What
comes
I'm trying
from.
to- No, listen to me. Men are focused on the meat and potatoes, and women are focused on the broth, the meat and potatoes, the seasoning,
Yeah.
the parsley, and because they're focused on so many things, sometimes they lose lack. Sometimes they lack the whole main purpose of the meal.
But the whole main purpose of the meal is to make the man happy.
No. The main purpose is we could all eat and be happy. You can eat, I can
Yeah.
eat. It's healthy. Men are just like, I got the substance. That's good enough. Women are like, does it taste good? Is it, how's the nutrients? So because women are like that, the men is just like, man, listen, they got to get done. You're like, no, but they got to get done right. And men would get it done. I'm not saying get it done faster like that.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah.
men are focused on the picture. Women are focused on the details in the picture, each pixel. So because of that, we have different ways of looking at things.
But both working, but both.
That's why
but
we're
both-
balanced.
but that's what I'm
That's
like,
why
but
we
both
need each
are,
other.
Yeah, equally important. Exactly.
Yes, that's why we need each other, because a woman could. Some men are very one tracked,
You know.
maybe 2 tracked, maybe 3. A woman could do fucking 20 things at once.
Yeah, I was about to say that too, the
And it's just
multitasking.
crazy. Like,
And
and that's why sometimes I get mad at her and be like, "Yo, focus on this."
Because I'm like, all right, let me go. Let me do it.
Yeah.
But I also have undiagnosed ADHD.
And that's the thing
I
about
believe.
friends, that you have to, when you know people's weaknesses, you gotta help them, like direct them. Manipulation is good.
I also feel like I said, I have undiagnosed. You think it's funny? Undiagnosed ADHD. So I tend to be like,
I think most people do. I think most people do.
So, on the people that I talked to, right? I talked to 23 people randomly.
You gonna go through all 23?
No, I'm gonna give you the percentage. So 43% of them said that women struggle more. 39% said men struggle more. 17% said half. Now the crazy part to me that was the 43% that said women were majority men. And the 39% that said men were majority women. And the reason why it's so crazy to me is it's like, okay, so we both can understand each other's struggle, but have such a hard time in working together. You get what I mean? Which is crazy. I also had a conversation. I don't know if I want to bring this up because this also might be a little racy.
Just say it, man.
I had a conversation with a non-binary person, and I'm
Oh,
not
man, that's
versed.
the juice.
That's what I'm like. I'm not versed. I'm not like, I don't really know about it. This is probably this is maybe the first non-binary person I ever talked to, and it was so interesting because, you know, of course it went into like
What kind of binary, non-binary? Explain that.
so
part.
non-binary.
No, I know what it is. Tell me what kind of person this person was.
You mean the person's actual gender? Is that offensive? I don't
No,
know.
I'm saying, what do she act
what were they
as?
born?
What does she act as to your mind?
So
No, give it to me real.
don't-
What do you see her
I
act
don't know.
as?
She just acts like
She. So she acts like a she.
Well, me
You just
saying,
did- you
but
just
me,
decorated.
that's me being that's offensive because she doesn't identify with a gender. So in me saying she, that's me acknowledging her physical form as opposed to
Oh,
realizing
she looks like she acts. So she has a physical form of a woman.
Would not, yeah. So non-binary means like although I have the physical attributes of this gender, I do
Does
not.
she dress like? Does she dress?
She,
Does
that
it dress
day,
like a man?
She's not a it. She's a non-binary. They. That's her pronoun. They.
That's more than one.
So they dressed that day. They was dressed in their masculine, but they had explained that one day she can wake up and dress in their masculine, and the next day they can wake up and they dress up in their feminine. Like she would have on coochie cutters and a tank top. and then one day, you know,
Coochie cutters.
they.
I never heard of that
That's
before.
I just showed my age right there. That means poom poom shorts. I just mean shorts. And then, you know, another day they can wake up and they can be in, you know, man dressed like a man. It's
Okay, we got that part. So
It's
what-
just what they
make her
feel
so
like.
iconic?
So the reason why it was such an interesting conversation, because when I first started talking to they was explaining it to me about the whole thing, right? Went into the whole LGBTQ, the whole, you know, trans and cis woman trauma, the drama that's going on or whatever the case is. But then when I asked this question of like, you know, who struggles more, you know, they was like, men do, period. Because men got to do way more. Like, they're asked to do way more. And I was just like, okay, what do you mean? She was like, because in a relationship, oh, there's gender roles. Which was crazy to me. Because it was just like, but there's no identification of a gender. So how do you, where's the gender roles? So is it that, and I forgot to ask her.
I can't say how I feel right now.
Ask they this, because I wanted to say, so if you wake up and you're masculine, do they now have the gender role of the feminine, like the woman, or I don't want to offend nobody, and just understand I'm talking like I don't know what to say, but I'm just going to ask. So like if you wake up and you're feminine, does now your partner be the man? Or is it that when you're with a man still identifying as non-binary?
Can I say something?
What?
I think that person that she's dealing with should be who they are. And
Yeah.
she has to just
But I'm assuming
do
that
what they have to do.
So I'm assuming that they is a full. At that point, she identifies as a woman.
I don't know.
Because she was saying a man.
To me,
like
she
if-
doesn't
She was just
identify as
like
anything.
he has to take out the garbage. He has to do this. So basically, when she's in a hetero, I guess that's what it is. When she's in a heterosexual relationship, she then is
I'm
a
just gonna say
woman.
when she's in a relationship with a male,
yeah
she
goes
they want to be treated as a woman.
yeah.
Which means
So it was just
to me she just sounds confused to me.
but that's what it is. It's
And I'm not trying to play nobody out there that feels this way, but it's confusing. So
it was. I'm gonna be
If
honest.
it's
It was
confusing,
very
they're
confusing.
confused.
But you know, everyone has a right to identify. They want to identify, whatever the case is. But it was so interesting. I'm sorry. You know me. I like to hear perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to hear it. I just want to.
So
You know.
Jennifer feels, my fault, Jay.
Wow.
Jay feels, my bad. Jay feels is 50-50. I feel is
do.
more man.
Can I get some of the reasonings?
I thought you did.
No, some of the reasonings. So some men, the men that did say that men.
Oh, you
have it
talking about their
harder,
opinions?
yeah.
I thought you just give me the percentage.
No, they said that men do the hard jobs. We have to pay for everything. Females can walk outside and get sex whenever. And if we don't pay the bills, we are deadbeats. Women said that it was harder, or men said that it was harder for women also, because we carry the babies, or they carry the babies. We're responsible for everything. We work, we raise, and we tend to do everything. We multitask. This is also
Do
what men,
everything as in what?
as in like basically the whole
Isn't that
house.
working?
The whole house. Well, no, this is in a situation where they do work.
Oh,
They do
okay.
work. They do go home. They still have to do majority of like the rearing with the kids, you know, and basically multitask as well as taking care of their man as well. And then in a home where it's not a man, they take on the responsibility of both parents. A lot of the men that answered, a lot of them came from single mother homes, and came from the perspective of seeing their mother like raise them and what she had to go through. What kind of help she didn't get. Some of them also like had like one of them was just like my sister never met her father at all, and she grows up without that kind of like male
Figure.
in her life or whatever the case is. Another one talked about like the bodies, the menstrual period, of course, the childbirthing and holding a child, and some of it was like that women are disposable to men, the ratio situation, which they are. I also feel that but one of the things I would tell them is like, the men that would think that it was women, I'm like, I think you feel that because the world has told you not to feel. So you just feel like you're gonna say women have it harder than you because the world coddle women. But then I think like the world coddle women because in reality we ain't shit to the world. We have no type of power. The only power we have is between our legs until it's taken away from us. But it's fucking crazy.
I'm not mad. Like, listen, I'm not. But what you said doesn't change anything how I feel. So
I'm not
I
trying to change it.
I know. I'm saying for me, right? So when I hear all of that, I'm just like, okay, women, they have children, cool. To me, that's the only thing that, to me, that's the difference between man and a woman, is that y'all can have kids and we can't, and y'all bleed for a couple days a month. And not for nothing, I couldn't handle that shit either. And that's a blessing on women. I really think it is. It's really a blessing. But there's a lot of things men can do that women just can't. We're 33% stronger than y'all. We're 33% faster than y'all. We're meant to take a hitting and keep on ticking. We are the ones that build this world. Sure, women have played a role, facts, but majority is men. You know why countries are created? Because men could go to war with other men. Like that whole African queen and them being like the African movie with the women being the warriors.
Yeah.
That sound good.
It's a true story, this side.
Never said it wasn't.
Uh-huh.
But I'm sure men with guns could just win.
So you take away from them from holding
I'm
down.
not taking nothing from them.
Okay,
I'm not taking. Corey did not take nothing.
They held down their village for a
I did
long
not.
ass
Listen,
time.
I'm not negating that, but I'm just trying to say that that's one exception to the rule, and that's not the reality of it. So cool. I give them props. Like them women look strong jokers. Like they not playing. But do I think they could have trained men to be the same exact way and probably better? Yeah, because we have more muscle mass.
They beat men though with more muscle mass.
Yeah, because they wasn't trained like them. They trained themselves way better than probably the men around.
We don't know how but you see how like that's just like that's kind of messed up. Where it's just like, oh, they trained themselves a certain kind of way, but that's the only reason why. I mean, if they're
not physically stronger than us.
Yeah, but either
So
way,
if
they were able
training
to.
is the
They were
difference.
able, yeah. So then if
If
all
you
of
put a
these-
guy there to train
so
with them,
all
they'll
of
be
these
just as
men,
dangerous.
you're gonna
Probably
say,
more
so
dangerous.
all of these men just didn't train as well. The ones
No,
that
they dedicated their whole lives to training.
But
You didn't see how they didn't have
but
sex.
Like yeah, but there's a lot of. I mean, back.
No,
in
I don't know. Except Spartans. That's the only society of men that did that. I'm not making this up.
That we know of.
Spartan-
But you can't tell me that like
That
there
we
was
know
no
of, and
other-
that's what
yeah,
matters.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
that's what matters in this
But
conversation.
you
What
can't-
we know of.
But why is it like it just seems like because it's a woman, it's an exception? Like
It is because there's no other women group like that.
But they still doesn't matter how.
But they wasn't-
Even if it's because they trained themselves to be like that. Going according to what you're saying, like men are 30% strong, 33% stronger and faster. So that meant. In reality, by that means it doesn't matter how much a woman trains, that they would beat a woman at that game.
No.
So then that meant, like, you get what I mean? Like,
If you put women and men in the same training, that's when our 33% show. If that woman has special training that a man doesn't, if a trained boxing woman fights a regular dude, she probably can win. Now, a trained boxer faces a woman-trained boxer, he's gonna whip her ass.
But what if she trains a different way that he trains? You just said right now, like, they trained a certain kind of way that these men didn't train.
I'm giving them the same training.
So they both
That's
have
how
the
you
same
see who's
training?
stronger. That's how you see they're stronger.
Okay. I don't have any type of...
It's not,
I don't
but
have any
these are the
type of
facts.
proof.
There's a reason why the strongest deadlift for a man is this and the strongest deadlift for the woman is that. She trained any kind of way she wanted. And that guy trained any kind of way she wanted. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like the same training for the deadlift.
Okay.
But if you're talking about fighting is different types of styles, different types of situations. Because now, we didn't put those African women up against the guys from Japan. We don't know how they would have fought against them. We didn't put them up against Asians from there. We didn't put them against the Vikings from here. We only talking about the guys in their area. So they was dominant against the man. You get what I'm trying to get at?
There's only one story of the many stories that they have. So we don't know if they didn't go up against the agents. We don't know if they went up against That's just one specific story. but they was holding down their village for mad long.
And I'm not
in
negating
the
that, but no
whatchamacallit
one's
of
saying that they
slavery.
weren't good.
So who's to know if they actually fought these people?
They didn't fight
We
nobody
don't
from
know.
Asia.
I'm gonna just say
I
don't.
promise you that.
I'm gonna say I don't know because I didn't do any research on
They ain't
it.
fight nobody from Asia.
So
Ain't no.
I'ma just say-
Asian or Indian coming there to try to take their village.
I
over.
don't know
Because they were good where they're at.
I don't know because everybody was trying to take some Africans and trying to bring them to the
Facts,
country,
especially the
so-
Portuguese. Remember I told you about the Portuguese? You didn't even know they was right next to them.
Exactly. So
Well-
wait, one last thing. Okay, we can't. Next time, that would be a topic for
So
next
just
thing
say
or
what
whatever.
you wanna say. Say
No,
it
because
real
that's a little racy. I can leave that for another time.
What is it? This give me a
I
little
was
bit.
just really just saying, like, I feel like the world coddles women so that they don't understand that we're the inferior gender. That I feel like the world coddles women because that's one of the things that people said, like, oh, women are coddled. But I feel like women are coddled because it's to basically not basically show how much we're the inferior gender. And the reason, and
I don't think y'all inferior. I just think we're balanced.
I think when it comes to like rights and when it comes to like and when I mean rights, I'm not talking about like the feminine right movement or whatever the case is. When I mean like rights, like for right now, the drama that's going on between transgender women and now trying to label women as cis women, even
That's-
though
that- I don't
and
even
that's
wanna
why I
get
was
into
just
that.
like
I don't
that's
even
a
wanna get
whole
into that. I
different.
don't wanna get into
but,
that.
So not to get into it, but in reality, here goes it wrapped up in what I'm trying to say. Like we're so the inferior gender that as soon as a man wants to be a man, wants to be. A man identifies as a woman and then actually transitions into woman. Now we have to basically just, deal with our label as a woman being taken away. But you're not seeing that happen for transgender men. Transgender men are not going to come through and call y'all cis men. It ain't going to happen. And they're not going to allow it to happen.
Do you know
why? What? Because it's a woman trying to be a man. Men are not going to allow that. Men rule the world.
That's not why.
Men rule the world.
Do you know why men rule the world? I told you this earlier.
But either way, that's my point.
Because we'll beat each other's ass.
But that's what I'm saying. But this is what I'm saying.
That's the difference.
We're inferior to the point where when a man chooses, like I
Physically
was,
inferior.
we're like, no, inferior, period. Because it's like, even when it came down to like abortion, oh no, so now we're going into, all right.
Yeah.
Are we going to say that for next time? Guys, share, comment,
And
subscribe.
honestly, this is one of the topics we didn't finish, but
Yeah.
it's a very touching argument. And it's a very touching debate. I would love for all y'all to give us comments, feedback,
real.
and let us know. I'm C,
I am Jay.
and welcome to the
Jay and C room. Come
Hello,
back.
hello.